This is Karen Stark's date, July 7th, 1980, at the home of the informant. Okay, and can you tell me how old you are?
Well, I was born, to tell me, in this is 1918.
You were born in 1918?
No. I said, this isn't 19, isn't it?
1980. This is this year?
This century is 1918 or 1980.
This is 1980 now, this year.
Well, I was born back in 1897, so I was told.
18? My, God bless you.
Now I figured out how old I am.
98.
That makes you what?
What's in there? 110, Mr. Rock? 3. 103? 103? Lord bless you. So you were born in 1897. Where were you born?
Where?
Yes, sir. Where were you born?
In Greene County, Tennessee.
Greene County,
Greenville.
Greenville, Tennessee, in Greene County.
Yeah.
Okay. And can you tell me do you remember when you came to Muncie? What year you came to Muncie?
What year I came to Muncie?
Mm-hmm.
In 1931. The 14th day of December.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Between the time that you were living in Tennessee and the time that you came to Muncie, where were you living and what were you doing in terms of working and traveling?
Where I living and what were I doing?
Mm-hmm.
And what kind of work I was doing?
Yes, sir.
And who for? I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
But when I came to the state of Indiana in 1928 to Indianapolis, I lived there in Indianapolis until 31. I came over here. I was a cook. Now, to tell you who I was working for on that date, don't ask me.
Okay.
Until the day, until I came over here, it was just here and there for Negroes.
How were you traveling seeking work? Were you traveling seeking work? When you left Tennessee, were you looking for work?
Yeah, just to be frank with you, I left Tennessee so I could get some work to live. Times was hard. Tennessee is the poorest state besides Arkansas in the United States. And Negroes worked where they could. As long as they could, they was kicked out. And they had to make it the best they could. There was 12 in our family, and Mother died in March the 28th, 1920. And it took all that I could do at that age. The oldest brother, he had left home with his family. And family was left on me to take care of. See that they had bread to eat, place to sleep, and a house to sleep in. I did the best I could on 50 cents a day. I got tired. I just made enough for 1 week eating, and that was all gone. So I left there in Tennessee on the second Monday, whatever that day was, would fall on now, I don't know. I headed somewhere to get some work.
How did you travel? How did you travel when you left Tennessee?
See these? That's the way we traveled back then in Tennessee. You either walked, hoboed, to get wherever you were going. Well, I went to Greenville, worked there for P.R. Wilson at a hamburger joint. 3 weeks. P.R. Wilson. And he paid me $4 a week. That still wasn't enough to keep up 12 kids in the house, feed them and clothes and so. I left there to Dent, Virginia.
Dan, Virginia?
Dent.
Dent.
D-N-T.
Dent, Virginia.
With E.E. Alexander to cook at the Bonnie Crest Hotel, which paid $75 a month and paid every 2 weeks. That made it easier then for me to take care of home and see that the small children had something to eat, and partially enough clothes to wear. Clothes was cheap then, but money was so scarce.
Yes, sir.
And food was cheap, but that medium exchange always fell in money. Then we went along good from there.
You remember how long you stayed in?
Until that was in 21. I worked there until October. Now, why is this? To find out who I am, where I've been.
Excuse me.
I came to Payne's restaurant to cook. I worked there from the 14th day of December until long about the 1st of last of October. Then I got kicked out on account of prejudice, evil of some of the help that didn't want niggers. We can't have no nigger cooks out those poor whites. They'd say things like that. I couldn't eat anybody cooking an old nigger. Well, they kicked me out. Started back to Minneapolis. Changed my mind, come back, stayed here. It seemed as though I was sent here for a purpose. Divinely. And when I sit down methodically, thought the matter over, then I turned around and came back. And with a determination to stay. Well, I did stay. I went to Newcastle and cooked over there. I forget the man's name now. Then I came back from Newcastle to Muncie and worked at the Malibu Foundry. About 18 months. And then a friend of mine passed me one day and asked me if I wanted a better job. I said, yeah, to pay more? He said, I think it will. And he said, well, you come out to the mill. It's not interesting to just report who it was. And I went out to wire mill.
Wire mill?
Indiana Steel and Wire Company. I worked out there for 8 years, or 9 years and 8 months. To be exact about it, 9 years and 8 months. Then I was informed of a position that I should get out of the dust a while. I laid off from there then, and staggered around, finally found a little job. And one day I met up with a little fellow by the name of David Coleman. And he says, are you busy Sunday? I said, no. He said, come down to our church. That was the beginning of the church relation in this town. I went down to the church and preached that evening, Sunday evening. And it seemed as though it was divinely planned and worked out that everybody seemed to be very well satisfied. And the next contact I had with him would come back. I went back and then they decided to call me for 6 months.
What church was this?
And I said, well, this should be indefinitely because my training that I got for theological work was in Lynchburg, Virginia. And Reverend Johns was my teacher. And he says now, short periods of relation with churches is not the thing you should do. It had to be indefinitely. Until the church and you disagree, then you go your way. So I heeded to his teaching, went on, and Coleman, then he goes back to the church and tells them, and they say, well, we're trying. They tried it, and I stayed with them for 20 years.
What church was this?
That was Mount Zion Baptist up here on Main Street. South Penn Street. There we built, organized, and built the Mount Zion Baptist Church. And completed it. So I retired in 1960. And I haven't pastored since. And then my work in Muncie when I came here with the churches, let's say, all of the Orthodox teaching. Then we found a very poor condition among the friendship relation of the churches. Now we begin working there in 22, and there were only 2 very well attended churches in the city, and that was Bethel, AME, Calvary Baptist, Reverend Jackson was at Bethel, and Reverend Thomas at Calvary. And there were the two outstanding churches in the city, having their own homes, church homes, nice buildings, but very poor attendance. The attendance was so poor until they only had one service a day, morning service. The people were so careless, say, and ignorant to a great extent. They'd come to the church, but they wouldn't come in. I never saw or heard of a thing like that before. They have service on Sunday evening, all out in front of the church would be full of, I don't know what to call them, would-be's and hasn't been. And they would not come in, no. Sometimes I have to call the law so the people can get by on the street. They just right backward. That was in 32. So Antioch Baptist Church, Union Baptist Church, they had pastors, but they didn't have any members. That don't seem logic, but it is. Go to the church, we know one about but the pastor and maybe one deacon. And they couldn't have Sunday school. They wouldn't come. As they came, they wouldn't come inside the building. More heathenism than anything that I ever seen or heard of before. So, we're all that way. They try to unite the churches together so that they could have Sunday school or morning worship. That wouldn't work. Didn't work. So finally, I went around and visited the church, talked with the ministers. They were a little apathetic in the relationship towards me. Some said I was crazy. Maybe I was. Some said I didn't know what I was doing. And we got our foot on the inside of the door, so they couldn't close the door completely and leave me outside. Well, finally one evening, Sunday evening at Mount Zion, there was a car drove up in front of the building. And there were 6 men in it. The Lord works in mysterious ways and has wonders to perform. And that was the beginning of the unity and relationship of the churches one to another. These men drove up behind me and stopped and said, "Say, mister," said, "we'd like to sing if we could find a place to sing to here tonight." I said, "Well, we'll sing here." And those boys came inside the church, the building, and not trying to explain, to explore how bad it was, but oh, that building was so dirty until you got on the inside, you didn't know whether it was on the outside or not. Had a stove in there burning coal. And you know how soot gathers from coal. And that place was scoundrelly dirty. Those boys sang and said, "We'll be back next Sunday if you don't care." Oh, come on. The next Sunday we got the news around that there's going to be some singers. And that broke the ice of those people gathered in front of the church doors and not coming in.
Do you remember who the singers were?
Huh?
Do you remember who they were, the singers were?
They called themselves the Four Harmony Kings, out of Indianapolis. The Four Harmony Kings. And I give them credit for opening the doors and breaking the ice and tearing down the partition between the churches.
Do you remember when they came here, approximately what year this was?
What year? This was in 33.
Now I want to ask you a few questions about Muncie when you first came here. Where did you live when you came here?
Where did I live when I first came here? I lived on the place where I worked. Payne's Cafe on Main Street. Slept upstairs over the kitchen, sent my clothes to the laundry, and I was about 6 or 8 blocks from Bethel and Calvary Church. And then after they broke the ice, the people come in the church. And then Reverend Thomas, the pastor of Calvary Baptist Church, come to see me. And he wanted to know where these men were from.
Do you remember, did you know anyone here in Muncie when you first came here? Didn't know anyone?
I didn't know anyone but myself and the good Lord.
What did you expect to find in Muncie? How did you?
I didn't know.
Well, why did you come to Muncie?
I was sent out of Indianapolis to come to Payne's Cafe, as I first said, to cook. And I worked until October of 32.
Do you remember where other blacks lived then? Where other blacks lived then? Do you remember where they lived?
Where?
Where did other blacks live then?
Other blocks.
Negroes. Where did other Negroes live then?
I don't want to get into it, but it was pathetic. It was bad. Bad all over Muncie. Now I say this, and there's nobody around living now that was living then. This was a junction for prostitutes.
This area?
This town. Between Indianapolis and not Dayton, but the next town.
In Indiana?
Oh.
Chicago?
Yeah, it's Oklahoma.
Was it a junction between Indianapolis and Chicago?
No. Fort Wayne, no. Toledo. Toledo, Ohio. And all prostitutes assembling here on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. They call Ball Brothers Glass Company, Indiana Steel and Wire, and Muncie, Malibu, and I forget that other founder's name. Payday. And you know, that would draw all of such people here. And it was pathetic how they did live. See, this was a prostitute junction from Madison to Walnut.
To Walnut?
Willard to the railroad. And all nothing but brothels. You know what a brothel is?
Yes, sir.
And little red shacks all down through there. And our people were mixed up with that. I forget what year it was when They tore that down and put up the apartments that you might see down from there now.
Mm-hmm.
So that dispersed all of that practice in that one section. Then they had the light out the Fort Wayne, or Indianapolis, or wherever they could go.
Mm-hmm. What were the homes like then?
Homes.
Yeah, just can you describe the homes, what they looked like for blacks? Can you describe them in terms of how many rooms generally were in the houses, or if they had running water or electricity or anything?
Well, they were shacks. And they were supplied with electric, coal burners, and everything they could get a hold of, keep warm by them. They were not mixed, white and black. The whites stayed on one side of the street, the blacks on the other. And the relation between the two groups was very poor. A nigger was a nigger. So much kind of work that a nigger could do, and that is all. Sweep the streets. A nigger couldn't drive a garbage wagon. Nigger couldn't work in the factory and drive a truck of any kind. They wouldn't sell a nigger a car or some wore out piece of junk that he had to push uphill and ride down here. A nigger was just nothing but an old slave nigger. The homes in the colored was scattered down around in that brothel district. And I couldn't tell you, because so many of them I didn't go in, couldn't get it. The way that those people lived was a mystery to me. I'm going to call one or two names. There was Mr. Miller and his wife, and I forget that man's name. Maybe it'll come to me. That's been a long time ago.
Was this the postman, Mr. Miller? Or was he a policeman or postman, Mr. Miller?
No, wasn't no police. That's the since you mentioned the policeman. there were one or two policemen on, but I don't recall the names.
There were one or two colored policemen then?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now you ask me what you want to know.
Okay. Can you tell me anything concerning businesses that blacks owned? Were there any colored businesses, restaurants, or?
No restaurants. And there wasn't a hotel. There was one little gutter hole behind the Washington Hotel that was run by Reverend Adams. When you could get him out of the bed, you could get a cup of coffee or sandwich or something like that.
Well, what did colored people do for entertainment then? Could they go to movies, or could they go to the white restaurants? Did they?
Mean then?
Mm-hmm.
What did they do for entertainment?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Well, they had the YWCA. They would meet there, and they had an old shack down on Madison Street they call the YMCA.
Were these for colored?
And a mud hole back behind it, and the rear was a swimming pool.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about all I know.
And these were places that blacks could go to? Black people could, Negro people could go to the YWCA and the YMCA?
They went to their home. They had a shack up here on Madison Street for men. And Ball Company had built up here on Penn Street a very nice building for the women, YWCA. And that's all that Now what else?
Do you remember any social clubs from the churches either, or anything like that? Do you remember any annual holidays or special events that were celebrated in the Negro community then? Okay.
No, it's pitiful, but the Negroes hadn't got to that stage.
Mm-hmm. Well, did you have a family here in Muncie? Did you ever marry?
No, I don't have no family. Didn't then.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, were there any schools then? Where did Negroes go to school then? when you came to Muncie?
They went mixed schools.
Mm-hmm.
They went to schools with white people then? Were these mostly poor white people that Negroes were allowed to go to school with? Were they poor whites? Yes.
What would you say are some of the most important things that Negroes as a group have done since you were here in Muncie?
The most important things.
Mm-hmm. That Negroes as a group have done?
Well, in the Negro group, they haven't built no buildings but the little church buildings. I don't know anything.
Do you remember any local leaders in the community then?
Local leaders in the community then?
Mm-hmm. Any other ministers, or were there any black Negro politicians?
No.
It's sad, but Negroes had a very little to do in uplifting their own group.
Mm-hmm.
They would have their little entertainments at these two buildings, the Y, the M and the YW. And then that was very partial between. Now the only uplifting thing that I could see was that they did own their property where the church buildings were. And I don't understand how they could get it or did. That was their business before I came here. But they were so backwards. It was pathetic how backwards they were. If anything else, that'd be known.
Just two more questions. Was there ever any violence directed against Negroes when you came to Muncie?
Any violence against the Negro. That has always been everywhere.
Do you remember any specific incidents?
Well, there was one incident that happened in 1932 in Marion, Indiana. You heard of it?
Yes, sir. That's
Well, that's the only thing that close.
Well, I want to thank you for giving me the information that you have and sharing with me as openly as you have. And I was wondering if you had any old pictures or any old newspaper clippings or anything that you might have kept from back then?
I don't have anything like that.
Okay. Well, I want to tell me again how long you lived in Muncie.
Since in Muncie, since the 14th day of November 1931.
1931. Okay. And where were you born?
Greenville, Tennessee.
Okay. And do you remember your birthday?
The 12th day of January, 97.
1897. Okay. So you are now 83 years old. You're 83 years old. Okay. How did you travel to Muncie?
You mean in the carriage?
Mm-hmm.
On a train.
Okay. And did you bring any things with you when you came?
Not anything but myself.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Why did you come to Muncie?
I was sent from Indianapolis to Muncie to work with the Payne's Cafe as a cook. Experienced steak cook.
So you had worked cooking for quite a while then. Okay. All right. Do you feel that you were ever held back on your job because of your race?
Yeah. Lots of places I was turned out just because I was colored. So many objectives, and so many of the Caucasians objected to eating a nigger's cooking.
And they had them in their homes.
You know, that was fun. You wouldn't have thought that of that so much if you were some, let's see, some places in the South, in the Tennessee's, hotels, restaurants, would appreciate a good black man's cooking. Other places, they didn't want you in the kitchen.
Yes,
But nothing but dishwashing.
Were there any other blacks employed where you were working? At Payne's, were there any other blacks working there?
No.
Okay. On your job, did you get exactly the same work that a white person did and get the same pay?
Well, I did the same and more work than the white men that worked there and less pay.
Was this generally the rule then? Was this generally what happened then?
Back then.
Yes, sir.
And it's pretty much the same today in spots and places. And I remember here, not too long ago, I was working at Robert's Hotel. They hired an Italian cook from Rome to come over here to teach us how to cook. And the style of cooking that he taught, it didn't take a hold. I'm trying to remember the chicken cacciatore, and that was his outstanding dish. He told the boss that he could fix the dish, and he would guarantee that everybody that ate it would like it. And cacciatore chicken, the way he fixed it, a pig would like it. I never liked no squash in any kind of a vegetable on peeled. All I liked was celery cut fine, not horse bites, but I like it chopped so you could get it in your mouth without holding one in your hand. Well, he paid that man. He would never tell me what he paid him. But he worked there for about 3 weeks. His chicken cacciatore didn't go over. And his roast lamb did very well, but the salt, the bitter salt, and he had to ditch all of that. Called on me then to fill in. I said, what's wrong? They ain't satisfied with his cooking. That was a fault. Mark. I said, well, you're going to pay me the same salary? Oh, no, you're not as good a cook as he is. I said, well, the cooking's going on, and the people are eating and staying. I know, but you're not as good a cook as he was. That's the excuse to keep from paying me the salary to pay him. And that was the end of that until I went on back and went to work for the same price, $32 a week. And I don't know what they was paying him. So one morning he came out before he quit. He and some of them got into it. He was telling them. He said, I want you to know now I'm the best cook you've got on the place. And you see the trouble of these old. Who's going to read this?
They'll just be persons affiliated with this project.
Well, now
You want me to turn it off? I'll do that. So you were saying that were there many foreigners that came in during that time and competed with blacks for jobs?
Well, there wasn't any more foreigners, no.
Mm-hmm. But
these that were coming still come.
Mm-hmm.
But they was complaintives. They didn't like his style,
Mm-hmm.
and they just told to fall.
Mm-hmm. But did you get any training on your job that helped you to be promoted? Could you get training? Mm-hmm.
I didn't get any training from any of them. I had to train them.
Yes, sir. What could you do if you wanted to get more money or to move up on the job?
Mm-hmm.
What could you do if you wanted to get more money or to move up on the job?
Not anything. Mm-hmm. It seemed as though they had a standard set for the black cooks and one for the white.
Yes, sir.
But if you were working on a job and they put a white man on there, you'd have to train him. Teach him everything you knew, and they wouldn't pay you anymore. The last place that I worked, and he said that he made a mistake when he said, we want to learn all we can over you and give it to this man here, a white fella. Because he's got the brains and he knows how to do. Well, that was wrong. Because I immediately contracted from what he said that he wanted me to teach this man all that I could and let him write it down so as soon as he got to where he thought he could handle it, I was gone. Well, it didn't work out just like he wanted it because I had taught too many of them. And every day or two they'd be coming running to me, what's your recipe for this? I said, well, I can tell you.
How long did you work there?
I worked there about 6 weeks. And I charged him $20 a day. Get awful high. You want to go to the bank regular, don't you? I was out to make a living, but I wasn't out as no free gratis teacher to them.
This wasn't at Payne's, was it? Were you still working at Payne?
No.
Mm-hmm. Where is this?
That was a new place that opened down on Madison. Right adjoining that what was that old? On the head of Madison there.
On the head of Madison?
That place was a lodging place.
The Travel Lodge?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
that was the conclusion of that.
You didn't go to school here. Do you remember anything about the schools, though?
School here?
Do you remember anything about the school system in Muncie when you came here?
Well, no. It's just about normal as maybe a little better than it was then, but I couldn't tell you.
What would you say was the highest level of education for most blacks then in Muncie?
Well, the highest levels, I think I know a few that graduated from state. And
Had most blacks finished high school here in Muncie?
well, since the last 5 or 6 years they have.
But when you came, most blacks hadn't finished high school?
Well, up until about 5 or 6 years ago. No.
Do you feel that black children were encouraged to go to school?
No.
Did any people discourage them?
Discourage them? That I wouldn't say, because there's so much of that done behind the door. Not open.
Which blacks were most likely to go on to college? Were they children of laborers or children of businessmen? Or?
Well, no. Children of labor, that's all there was. There's not very few businessmen in this city when I came. There were 2 undertakers, John Patterson and Crooms and Taylor.
Crooms and Taylor. Were these black men?
Yeah, they were black. And then there was one fellow by the name of Ralph Pettiford. He was carpet cleaner, rug cleaner, what you want to call it.
So, did many of the graduates who went off to school, to college, did they come back to Muncie?
I don't know. Don't remember any of them who went away to school.
So most of them
college. I don't know of any.
Where would they go to college then?
Well, what went to college is what few did when I hit Ball State.
Okay. How did black children get to school?
Walked or rode the trolley.
Okay. And generally, how far away was the school?
Well, generally, as a distance then, the same distance now.
Okay.
The schools haven't moved any farther away, but the blacks have been scattered out in different districts until I couldn't say just the exact what the districts are.
Okay. Did any of your children, do you have any children who attended school here?
Well, I have 2 daughters.
Are they living in Muncie?
Yeah. One of them died last in Texas by the death of cancer. Other one lives in Muncie here. She now works at one a year.
Can you give me her name?
Her name, Ernestine.
Has she lived in Muncie all of her life?
Yeah.
How old is she?
Oh, 30-some, I don't tell you.
Oh,
Exactly.
okay. So they went to school here? Your daughters went to school here?
Yeah.
Did any of your children, did any of your daughters attend college? They go to college?
Money was too
Do you think there were many black children that wanted to go on to school but couldn't because of limited finances?
low. Well, I wouldn't make a statement to that because I don't know how much money was in their home. I know work was kind of hard to get, and the layoff was hard on the black. Maybe you go to work today, work all day, and go out the next morning, you wouldn't have no job. Why? I don't need you. How long? Nothing. No explanation made in that concern. Just fire you and that's all.
What kind of jobs were most black holding then?
Well, the Ball brother, Malibu, Indiana Steel and Wire, and the boiler work.
What was the last one? What was the one you just said? The last name you just said?
Yeah.
What was it?
Boiler?
Boiler?
Yeah.
Boiler worker.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't understand you.
And others, quite a bit of house cleaning. That was the wives. And anything else.
Can you think of any black families where the entire family worked for one family over the years?
No, I don't remember anything like that.
Okay. Did you or any other black workers have black bosses?
Black bosses?
Yes, sir.
Not then.
Did you or black workers prefer black bosses or white bosses?
Well, now you want the fact.
Yes, sir.
The black bosses are few and far between. And the black man that bossed the black man, he was bossed for a white man. He was, what they call him?
The foreman?
Maybe it comes to me, but he had to report to his boss. And he was going to change. Whether it could change or not. He made all the decisions to the white man who to hire on his job. He didn't want no black man on his job. He wanted all white.
The black boss wanted all white.
Yeah. I remember going out to a place, ball factory. That was a friend of mine. He was looking for a job, and he says, let's stop here. He went in. This black man was the boss. And I noticed that there was a separation line there. The white boss is over there and the black boss is over here. And the black boss, he faced a line of men that were seeking work on the right, and the white man was facing him on the left. And he'd look at the line and just nod his head as it went by down the line, accepting and rejecting. And it got down to the colored, mostly all colored in a way. Why, I noticed this black man, nigger, I'll call him, because he acted like an old nigger. Would shake his head. No, not that one. Get down to a white man. Yes. And that was the way that went on, you know. And maybe I can think of that man's name. But anyhow, it went on and on and on and on. And every time there would be a job open for a black man, it would be the hardest, brutal work that they could find to put on this black man. So finally this boy got his job. You never was in a glass plant, were you?
Nothing.
Honey, that's about I'm just saying it offhanded. It's about 24 and 36 feet. Bowl shaped bottom. And this was laid with fire brick all around. And into this hot lava glass, out of this bowl, send these men down in that hot bowl. I'd say the temperature would run around. Well, when it's in operation, over 1,500 degrees. You empty that tonight, run these men in there tomorrow night. You know, it didn't take them long. I mean, it wasn't very cool. They didn't live long. But when I worked in 34, 6, and 8, all that died like anything. They were sending them poor men in there. They needed work. And they come out tonight. Maybe they'll be able to go back the next day or two. And the next few days they were dead. It was pitiful how they treated us. Oh, Lord, I wonder. The men had to do something to live. And many of them bootlegged, gambled, stole. Any way to make a living, get something to eat. And then that was awfully poor. Arthur Logan, the chicken shack runner.
Arthur Logan? Was he black?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He and his wife, Maggie Logan, Arthur, Tish Petty, and his wife.
Tish Petty?
Petty.
P-A-T-T-Y?
Yeah. They run bootlegging joints and sold chicken.
Mm-hmm.
And that way, that put the man on the stealing line, chicken theft. Oh, slick. They wanted chickens that see slick. And he'd bring in a load of chickens from the country. A night like this morning, and scatter them out today. Then they'd have a chicken killer tonight.
You remember where this place was? What street it was on?
Then on 7th Street East, on the 13th block, that was in the 13th block, East 7th Street. And Petty was back up on 7th Street about 9th to 10th block. Somewhere along in
And
there.
they used to sell chicken and bootleg. They used to sell chicken and bootleg.
Yeah. Bootleg, sell chicken, camel, everything they can do. To keep some money coming in. Well, they did good for a while. You know, everything does good. In a hard time. There was, you think that boy's name? He was a chief bootlegger. He keep him supplied with whiskey. And old Slick would keep the chicken on the table.
You can't remember this chief bootlegger?
A chief bootlegger? What was his name? Oh, I know it well, but it just don't come to me right now.
Okay.
He supplied the whiskey. I mean, haul it in and out. There was, what you call it. They couldn't bring it in, but you could slip it in. That's what he did. I know that man well, but I just can't remember his name.
You remember where he lived? Or where his store was?
I know where he did what made his deals on 5th Street. 5th and Blaine.
I want to ask you just a few more questions. Do you remember any black doctors or dentists or nurses or midwives when you came to Muncie?
Yeah, we had Dr. Davis, Dr.
Was Dr. Brooks here then?
Brooks.
Was he here then? What about nurses? Did you have any black nurses?
Not that I know.
What about midwives?
That I couldn't say.
Did you use them? Did you go to Dr. Davis, Dr. Brooks? Why not?
I didn't have any cause to go.
Did most black people go to these doctors?
Not the most of them, no.
Why didn't they go?
I couldn't say. Dr. Smith, he came in.
Dr. Smith?
Very good doctor. And he did wonderfully well. after a while. And you know, there's so much evil among our people against one another's success. There was a woman got mad with Dr. Smith. And she got her on the telephone, you know, and she called everybody that she knew that was going to the doctor and told them that he was leaving town and he didn't want no more visitors. And so one day I met Dr. Smith, and he said, you know, they're just about ruthless. Now, who's going to read this?
Excuse me? The project that we're working on, there will be persons who will be screening this that are working with me on this project. You want the tape off now? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I don't want to personate anyone.
No, sir, we won't. It won't be used for those purposes.
And he said they're just about that I'm going to have to leave town. I said, oh, Dr. Smith, I've never done it. He wouldn't give no name. He said, we doctors are not supposed to do such. So later on, I eventually found out. And he said, I haven't got enough money to go anywhere. You know, that awful evil in colored people. And
what were the major causes of death for most black people then? What were the major causes of death for most black people then?
Pneumonia, and drunkenness, alcoholism, let's say. And that alcohol was one of the greatest among all of them.
Black and white? Were there any epidemics? Were there any major epidemics here in Muncie?
No, there was when I arrived here. There was a little epidemic of paralytic. Several children were paralyzed. That's the only epidemic that I can recall.
What kind of food did you eat when you were coming up in Muncie?
Food?
Mm-hmm.
All principally the same.
Mm-hmm. Did you grow your own food? Or did you hunt for food? Or how did you get it?
Well, they had gardens around the backyard. They had a market down here, South Walnut Street. It was Italian market. Now, now this is natural for blacks. They will steal. Well, you see, there was forced into it. Some of them for fun, some for necessity. On Friday and Saturday nights, they'd crowd this market out. And while they'd be up there pretending they were waiting to get paid on, they'd have some of the friends with a car, and they'd just be packing that car with these. Oh, it tickled me one together. Sack of flour, and he didn't know it had a hole in it. And that flour marked from the place he picked it up clear on down around to his car. He hadn't paid for it. Well,
in the early days, how many rooms were there in your home? How many people lived there?
how many rooms in one home?
In your home, when you first came to Muncie?
Well, I told you when I first came to Muncie, I stayed where I worked.
Right.
Only one room, probably 2 or 3. The night cook and the chef.
How many rooms did most black houses have?
Oh, from 1 to 3 or 4.
And how many people would live there?
That I wouldn't say, because you never know when night came. They would run night and day. And I couldn't say that.
Okay. You said that blacks used alcohol. Did they use drugs then?
Drug. That I wouldn't say.
Okay. Were there any conjurers or healers in the black community then?
Anyone.
Conjurers or faith healers in the black community then?
About as much as there are today.
Do you remember any of them?
Oh. I don't remember exactly.
Did you go to them?
No.
Did whites go to them?
Yes, they went to them. But I never did go. And
where were blacks hospitalized? Where were blacks hospitalized?
black.
Where did they go to the hospital? Could they go to the hospital?
Well, them that lived long enough to get that. It was nothing to laugh about, but it was funny. Now they would drink this alcohol, And what they ate, I don't know. Where they ate, I don't know. First thing you know, he would be out to the hospital. Next thing you know, he's dead. Some of them would fall out before they got to the hospital. And died on the way there. And some of them would come home, sit down, go to sleep, and get up. I know several of them that did that. And that's what I want to bring in about this Ball Brothers tank man. They made gas out artificial.
Mm-hmm.
And material that they put in it was poison. And that killed the most. Working on the gas line.
What age did most of these people live to be that worked in with the gas or in the glass melting pot? What was
Well, you see, I couldn't say because I don't know what age it was when they put it in there. They were all up in their 20s.
When they died, they were all in their 20s? When they died, they were in their 20s?
I mean, when they went into the factory. Now, when they died, I couldn't tell you.
Would you say they died much younger than they would have had they had good jobs?
Yeah.
Do you remember any all-black hospitals or rest homes or nursing homes or homes for the mentally ill when you were coming up?
I mean, here in this city.
Here in Muncie.
There was nothing like that.
Well, in the old days, how did people feel about the physically handicapped?
How did the people feel?
Mm-hmm.
Well, from what I could say, they didn't have no feelings.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember any people who were in a wheelchair or who were blind or deaf or paralyzed?
Well, I can remember some that were blind and paralyzed. Yeah.
How were they cared for?
By their parents and friends. And when they got older, they just had to get on the best they could.
Who were the black leaders in the nation at the time that you came to Muncie?
Who were black leaders of the nation?
Mm-hmm. Have you ever heard persons like Marcus Garvey or W.B. Du Bois?
Yeah, Marcus Garvey. And what was that other name?
Du Bois?
Yeah.
Dr. Du Bois?
Yeah, they were supposed to be the black leader.
Mm-hmm.
But now to be frank about the matter, from then on up until now, the black leaders of the Negroes are few and far between. Because Negroes won't be led by no one black man. Oh, they're tear up hell in heaven, Georgia, before they let a black man tell them anything. I know we had some trouble here, way back in the 30s. And all met up here on Willard Street.
Who met? Who met?
All the Negroes that wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
Few of the whites. And one old Negro got the name of Finley.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to be led by no southern black man. He was one of these dark kind of guys raised up here in Ohio. And they refused to be led by a black man. And as they got to argument over the white man that was trying to get him organized, he walked out. Couldn't blame him.
What was he trying to organize them to do?
He was trying to organize some kind of a organization that would help the black and the white to establish a definite place for a public recreation for the black. Mm-hmm. And some of them, I don't know who it sounded from, suggested me. And that's where it broke out. Broke out and tore up and never was called together again. And why, I don't understand. If you know more than I do, I'd like to hear from you. And but they don't want it, they didn't want it, saying they don't want it now. They can't lead themselves because they have never been led. But they don't want you to tell them what to do. That's one of the aggravatingest part of our success is we will not be led. And as I used to say so many times, you can't lead where you don't go, and you cannot teach that you don't know. So, I remember, let me add this. I remember going to church once at a place, time to preach, the preacher wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't there in Sunday school. And he didn't get in the church in time to preach. So he come in looking all goose-eyed, running his mouth. They asked me to say something. I wasn't not much to say. The pastor's not here. Oh yes, he just come in. And the pastor come in, never go to Sunday school, never come to church until the time to turn out. I said, well, I want to tell the pastor that he can't lead where he don't go. And he cannot teach that he don't know. You've got to know your Sunday school, and you've got to go to it to be taught by it. He didn't like it so well, but I said it. It's all over with.
Love, this is the second tape. What holidays were observed in the black community when you came to them? What holidays were observed?
Same as all today.
Were there any special events that were just held in the black community that you remember?
No.
Were there many family reunions? Were there many family reunions?
Family reunions?
Mm-hmm. Were there many when you came? Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay. How were your children's names chosen? How were your children's names chosen?
Churches.
Children. How were your children's names chosen?
Children's main program.
Name. Their name.
How was their name?
Right. Mm-hmm.
What do you mean? Scripturally or?
How did you choose their names?
Oh, you'd have to ask somebody else. I don't know.
Okay. All right. When you came to Muncie, did you and your family attend church?
Well, only me. I came. Yes.
And what church did you attend when you came?
When I came, I attended Calvary Baptist.
Okay. And how frequently did the church have service? How frequently did the church have service?
How frequently?
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I came here, they had the church doors were open every Sunday and Wednesday. Now the attendance was very few all the time.
About how many members were in the church at the time that you came?
Oh, no, that's just a guess. I don't know. There were such a few until they didn't have no Sunday school. Service once a day. Now, Sunday school, it was awfully poor. I couldn't say that what the membership was.
When did you go into the ministry?
I started in the ministry in 1914.
You were a minister when you came here?
Yeah. In Greenville, Tennessee, at the United Presbyterian Church called New Hope. Under the pastorage of Reverend J.H. Fort. And there we attended regularly as long as I was there. And then we went to, I went out from that to different points to work. And then I got entangled with the Baptist church. Some places they were Methodists, no Baptists. And in other places there was Baptists and no Methodists. And that made you then be one or the other, or just tend one because it was convenient and the proper thing to do when you wasn't home.
So which church did you pastor here in Muncie?
Mount Zion.
Okay. Were you pastoring there when you came to Muncie?
Pastor.
What year did you go to Mount Zion?
What year did I go to Mount Zion?
As pastor?
Well, I organized it and built it.
What year was this?
And that was in 38, all up through 40. Pastored until 60. One or two.
Can you tell me some of the things your church did for the community then?
No. I could come more telling you what the community did for the church. Because they, as I forestated, there were very few in the church and very few that had any activities in the church. And when I went to this little church, there were 6 members there. Sunday morning, we raised 6 staff. It was on a train. The deacon's strap was treasure there. And I thought strange, they took the money and gave it to him. And I wasn't taught that way. And when evening service come, asking for the money, I ain't got it. I took it out and spent it because I couldn't do nothing with it. Now what?
Was there any violence against blacks in the community when you came to Muncie? Was there any violence against blacks the community when you came to Muncie?
Violence against the black. Not any real violence outwardly any time since I've been here.
What were the major fears of black people when you came? What were the major fears of blacks in Muncie?
Fears.
Mm-hmm.
Ku Klux Klan. They were afraid of the Ku Klux Klan. You know what that is?
Yes, sir.
Well, this city was infested very badly with it. Indianapolis was worse still. And the Negroes would run, some of them like rabbits, hound after them from the Ku Klux Klan.
How did most black people feel about the police? How did black people feel about the police?
The police.
Mm-hmm. How did they feel about it?
Well, now, that's a good question. But I tell you, the most the people feel about the police. The police make the Negroes what they are against them by their ignorance. I'll say ignorance because it is ignorant for a man to know better and have a position that they have and never do it. A policeman is one of the most hated things to people, group that they are among the black. Because every time you see two policemen together and one black man, their idea seems to be the first thing knock them in the head. And they have beat up well, that's been a long time ago.
Did you have incidents here where policemen beat black men here?
Yes, we do have. And they would take these black women and men to the jailhouse. I could pick them up early yesterday evening. And you go down there and see them this morning, you wouldn't know them. They beat them up like anything. Knock the teeth out, skin the heads up. See the nigger coming out the next morning, you think he's better in a train wreck. Now that's the nature of the police used to be here and everywhere else.
Did you know any black policemen?
Well, there was yeah, Miller. What was his name? And
Do you know where they were assigned to work? Where the black policemen were assigned to work?
I don't remember. No, I don't know where they were assigned to work. But most of them, you see them on South Walnut.
You know why they were on South Walnut Street? Why that section?
Well, I don't know exactly why. That's getting them out of town. And they wouldn't be seen as much.
What were the major illegal activities in the black community?
Major
illegal activities in the black community.
bootlegging.
You told me that. Okay. Now, did black people have pride in themselves in the old days? Did black people have pride in themselves in the old days?
Black people.
Did they have pride in themselves in the old days?
Pride?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's say for sure. I can't say because, as I have said, they say one thing and do another.
How did they feel about being colored or Negro?
Being colored?
How did they feel about that?
How do I feel about it?
Okay, how do you feel about it, and how do most blacks feel about it?
Well, some like you, some don't. Some blacks will call them black. They're ready to fight. And some you call colored. They're the same.
How do you feel about being called black today?
Well, personally, I don't think much about it. Now they say, I'd rather be called blacks and colored. Well, there's no explanation there. Why? You can't explain anything on either side. So, I don't know much about that.
How do you feel about being called an Afro-American?
That's all right. Afro-American, we are just that. Because we came from Africa, and old John Smith brought us over here, Liverpool, into Virginia, and there he dumped off about 40 or 50, and the Indians in the cold weather killed them all. It took about 6 or 9 months to cross the Atlantic, and they starved to death, froze to death, and the Indians killed them.
Have you ever heard of any of these newspapers, such as the Afro-American, or the Black Star Press, or the Chicago Defender? Have you ever heard of any black newspapers?
Well, yes.
Do you remember any that were in circulation here in Muncie then?
No.
Could you get a copy of any black newspapers if you wanted one?
No.
Okay. Were you able to read any black newspapers? Did you read any black newspapers when you came to Muncie?
Well, I didn't read any here, but I have. I was mostly interested in that. What was that big paper out in Chicago?
The Chicago Defender.
Yeah. I liked it, and I'd carry it around with me where I went. And I could get a hold of one. I have one shipped here, mailed in. That's the only paper published by the blacks that I liked. I come to Indianapolis, they were plentiful there. And because it seemed like that paper gave you more sensible news than any other paper that put out by the blacks. The others was sickening to me. It might have been all right to somebody else.
In the old days, did people talk about Africa?
Oh, yeah. They talked about Africa. Some wanted to go back. Some didn't. Oh, they got them up some kind of old jigsaw. If the white folks want the colored folks to go to Africa, I'm not going. One of those niggas' name, you called his name here a little while ago, trying to get all the blacks to go to Africa.
Marcus Garvey?
Yeah. Well, that was, I don't know how to state that. Marcus Garvey, and he wanted all the niggers to go back to Africa. And that's what that old jig song come up with. If the white folks want some niggers to go to Africa, I ain't going. And that's the only thing that I know about that.
Do you feel Negroes were ashamed or angry about Africa?
Well, they were not ashamed, and they was not angry, but some of them longed to go back home. Them, now that's back before my time. I'm going to stretch out a little bit. That was them that lived long enough to remember it. There never was very many children that were reared in any country that never longed to go home sometimes. I don't know where you were reared, but if you were reared in Texas, stayed up here 10 years on up till now. There was a time somewhere that you longed to go back home.
Did you ever think of Africa as a homeland?
Have I ever thought of it being a homeland. My relation through reading about Africa, and as I was telling you a little while ago concerning Ham, Japheth, I thought sometime I'd like to go just to see is it true what they say about it. That's what I wanted to see. I would take King Solomon, Addis Ababa, down in that section in there. I used to read quite a bit about it, and I longed to see just how the people live. It was more of my sympathetic feeling for the people than it was to want to go home to stay. I wanted to go home to see just how my people were treated. I look around again, I say, well, Mama, my father, they know nothing about it. But my ancestors related back in there, they knew. So one day I sat down and I wrote.
What'd you write?
To England to find out, this whole tree business. You ever see that?
The what?
Have your tree chased down?
Tree?
Tree, family tree.
Oh, yes, sir.
And I wrote to England to find out just how things were, or if it were true concerning. In about 2 or 3 years, I think, we fired all this forth. And they said, well, we are trying to find out your family connection to King Solomon. Okay. Solomon had been dead so long, and they couldn't find us, and said, well, we just say your name originated by coats of arms from England. That's all they were, God, that's all they were trying to do.
Do you think black people have pride today? Do you think black people have pride today?
Pride?
Do you think they have pride today?
Yeah, they have pride, and some of them have too much pride.
Well, is it better than in the old days?
Well, yes, it looks better than it was in the older days.
How? How? How is it better?
The pride? Well, they're more determined to be as they think they should be. They will stand up and talk. That's one thing that I do like about them. I like for you to stand up and speak, and not to drop your head and cry. And that makes me worried when I see, you don't see so much now, it's a white man talking to a black man, and him sitting there standing up there crying. I could take a break and talk to him. Tears out of it. And that pride is more determined today than it was like that. And I like that. It's in the army. See these colored boys go into before the captain, lieutenant. He hit the door, take his hat off, start scratching his head. He's scratching his head. Scratching his head. And rubbing his hips, I guess he's getting ready to run. And then crying. I don't know what it was security. What was it before? Somebody walk up to him, bawl you out, then you start crying. Why do you get out of it? Never do that.
No, sir. Try not to anyway. Try not to.
You ever go to crying when your husband hauls you out?
I'm not married.
Oh, I don't mind you crying when your mama talks to you.
That I might.
You're liable to get a whipping.
Do you think that young people were ashamed of their race or color?
Some are and some are not.
Do you think this is so today? Do you think this is so today?
Oh, it's just about as equal today as it was back in the olden days. But they're a little bolder today than they used to be.
Well, in the past, how did most people feel about fair-skinned blacks?
Most people feel about
Fair-skinned blacks.
fair skin and black. No, that's a choking question. Some black don't like fair skin, and some black don't like to sell, and you just can't hardly explain that because I don't know. They fight too much against one another. As I said a little while ago, your family is the hardest bunch of people to get along with. It's your own family. See your wife today, if she's black, it's evil. You see her tomorrow, she's yellow, she's evil. So there you are. I've tried my best along in my career to find a junction between, but there's no landing place anywhere.
Were the fair-skinned blacks usually better off or worse off than other blacks? Were fair-skinned blacks any worse off or better off than other blacks?
No, that calls for something else. Now, to answer that, I'll have to say that blacks in certain sections of the South are better off than the fair skins.
What about here in Muncie?
I don't know the difference.
Were they able to get better homes or better jobs?
No.
Do you think this is so today?
Think that should associate?
No. Do you think this is so today? Do you think fair-skinned blacks are able to get any better jobs or better homes?
No, not here.
Okay. Did you ever see any black actors or singers or entertainers here in Muncie?
Did I ever see any black singers? Oh yeah, we got called over black singers. Quartets, choirs, from 1 degree up to the highest or lowest.
Did you ever see any black actors or entertainers here in Muncie?
Well, not raised here in Muncie. I saw them come in and out.
Do you remember their names?
Their names? Oh, singers or entertainers of any kind. Oh, I can't think of the names right now.
Okay. How do you think most white people feel about black people today?
How do I think how the most white people feel? Well, it's hard to answer that question because that's an inward feeling that is not exposed to the public. Oh, you may run upon a bunch of whites like more so when the hotels were going on. They slip around you behind doors or in rooms. The other would make the expression of black. And I was working at a hotel, and I heard some laughing going on. And I stepped up to that close enough so I could hear. And there were 4 whites sitting there talking about Mrs. Roosevelt. Do you know her? And they're from Georgia.
Are you talking about the president's wife?
Huh?
When you say Mrs. Roosevelt, the president's wife?
Yeah. And this one fellow said, well, every time Franklin comes down to Georgia, he said the niggers throws the old piano up in the ragged truck, and down the streets they go, and the roads dusty, whooping and hollering, singing, dancing, entertaining the president. They were just laughing and killing themselves. One said, well, I tell you, says, my dad said she was a half nigger anyhow.
How do you feel about yourself and your life and what you have been able to accomplish here in Muncie?
In my accomplishment, well, it didn't look like I'd accomplished very much for a while. But since the Social Security law come out, you're not on it, are you?
Nothing.
Oh, I had an occasion, call it no name, to have a communication with one of the men downtown. Now, say it again.
I was asking, how did you feel about yourself and your life and your accomplishments here in Muncie?
Oh. And he says, counting up the fathers and the mothers of the children that were on the Social Security. So he calls me and tells me. I didn't solicit this, he done himself, asking me about the relationship between this Social Security. And he said, you know that you have done more for the black people here in Muncie than you actually think you have. He says, they had to call you the father of Muncie. Says you give more people home and brought closer together more people. He called over a good many names that children, that the fathers were not fathers for them, made no home for them. That you have given them home, fed and cared for them. Well, I didn't know it, you see. He said, we have made a survey of this. Well, I guess you say well, I hadn't thought of it. But I have accomplished in church work here. I did more church work here than anywhere. Making the building, getting the people together, getting them started to worship together. And one of the accomplishments I think that I enjoy most of is that when I came here there were what they call testimonies. Every first Sunday they have testimony. And they'd get in there and such another fight, calling names you never heard before. So I said, I'm going to stop that. So they're not doing a thing but hurting themselves, fussing and fighting like that. So I said, no, there'll never be no more testimony services here. Now you, some old sister, now you tear up our meetings. That's where we have our fun. They call it fun. I said, that's true. Don't come here again for no testimony. Now on, as you come in here and worship, sing your song, say your prayer, and get out and go home. I tore that up, and the churches got better. Yeah, all over town. They got so much better. And you can go to church Sunday night and feel safe.
Well, that's all the questions I have for this interview. Is there anything, any experience or anything that you remember about Muncie that you think we should know, that you'd like to tell us about?
I think I have told you all that I can
Okay.
today.